Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Gorecom, in which we take the time to speak to small cap executives after they put out big news. With us today, happy to have him back, Jim Pakulis, CEO and chairman of Boosh Plant-Based Brands, trades in Canada, the stock symbol VEGI. For our friends in the US, VGGIF. For those new to the story, here's a timely topic. With the Superbowl around the corner, how many of you are thinking right now, man, it would be great if only some of my favorite comfort foods could be healthier? Well, meet Boosh. They're an award-winning plant-based comfort food company whose products include, listen to this without salivating, mac and cheese and peas, veggie bolognese with Beyond Meat, Shepherd's pie with Beyond Meat, and other multiple award-winning 100% plant-based GMO and gluten-free products. How well those products doing? More than just lip service. They've expanded to over 600 stores in less than 2 years. Right now, they're onboarding more than 25 new accounts per month. That's going to be accelerating. They've got deals with multiple companies retailers you've heard about, including Whole Foods, Safeway, Metro, IGA, and many other retailers. And today's big news here, Save On Foods increases first order of Boosh from 120 to 170 stores for approximately $100,000. Jim, welcome back, my friend.
Thank you, George. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Hey, first of all,
what a great intro.
What
a great intro. I love listening to your intros.
It's easy to do when you got good material, my friend.
That's
great.
Hey,
congratulations on this. I want to talk about this in a second. I want to talk about what it means and go through the business. But you know what? Let's address that one elephant in the room, which is that the small cap space in general is taking a hit on the stock side. We're in that risk off environment. By the way, we're seeing this on the NASDAQ too, where Facebook yesterday was down 26% in just a couple of hours, right? It's happening.
Yeah, my heart bleeds for Zuck losing 20 billion.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. But look, I've seen this before, and you're a veteran of the space where the small cap space will go through these risk off periods, but inevitably you can't stop long-term powerful paradigm shifts. And I mean plant-based foods, first of all, and then within that category, successful companies like Boosh, because you guys aren't talking the talk, you're walking it just with this headline alone. What are your thoughts are on, on the stock market side of plant-based foods and for Boosh?
It just ebbs and flows, peaks and valleys. It happens all the time. It happened in the cannabis industry for 10 years that I was involved in it, and any other industry. It ebbs and flows. Now, you have something very unique in the junior emerging cap space. In this space, investors will invest in dev companies, right? Development companies. A lot of dev companies don't make it to the finish line. And so when you have these pullbacks for a dev company, that's toxic. That's a death sentence. On the other side of the On the other side of the equation, you have a company that's built from operations and infrastructure and strong management, and every day is going out there and putting new orders into new stores. Then that company probably is going to do well, if not extremely well in the long run. That's what the category I put Boosh in. As you just said, 600 stores. We were in 125 stores January 1st, 2021, 13 months ago. In 13 months, we've got into over 500 stores, and we've expanded our SKUs from 6 frozen SKUs to 24, including the pâtés and the cheeses and the chill line. So we are now in 3 of the 4 different sections of the grocery store, and I don't see the momentum slowing down from where I'm sitting.
Yeah, this is a massive paradigm shift, but the market is going to pick out the winners at the end of the day, right? It may be risk off right now, but at some point we know the market's going to say plant-based food, unstoppable. Who are some of the winners? And let's go to this press release. I think that says it all. You and I, it's not a hard pitch. We don't have to sell this. Save On Foods increases first order from 120 to 170 stores. Congratulations on that. Let's elaborate in terms of what does that say about your capabilities for as Boosh, and what does it say about the category as far as plant-based foods?
As far as our capabilities, remember too, we're boarding anywhere from 15 to 25 new stores every month, right? We previously said in a press release. So we have this momentum going. This is just one of those huge milestones that we're extremely proud of our sales department and Connie to have gone ahead and received after working a long time to get into Save On. So what does it mean specifically for Boosh? Okay, 4 frozen, that's the first. Every store, 170 stores, is going to get a case of 4 frozens. And then from there, we assume the re-up orders will include the other 2 frozen we have. And also we're going and talking to them in regards to our 3 refrigerated: mushroom gravy, chili, and sloppy Joe, which are all phenomenal as well.
Salivating.
Right. So, and then of course we have our 2 shelf stable mac and cheeses that we just came out a couple of months ago with. So we have so many arrows in our quiver now. When we get one of these major stores to accept even a limited portion of our foods, we then can introduce them over time to our other brands, up to 24 different products that we have now. So I think we're positioned very well.
And by the way, for you to get on the shelves, for Save On Foods to bring you on, they're not, pardon the pun, throwing some spaghetti in the wall and seeing what sticks. I got to presume you went through a pretty rigorous testing phase where they were testing the product, they were taste testing how it lasts. You must have gone through a pretty rigorous testing to get here. Explain that a little bit to us, because to me, once you're in the door with a major grocer like this and others you've announced, it's pretty hard to get kicked out after that. You're in.
Connie Marples and our brokers made the first calls around 14 months ago, over a year ago.
Yep. Yep.
Worked hard. TJ Welsh, who, as we've talked about, came in as head of North American sales for Boosh, deep knowledge of a lot of these larger retailers, as well as UNFI, has relations with Save On, helped the process along. So it was a combined effort about our team, our A team, going in there and moving forward. So yeah, not an easy feat. Number 2, George, too, there are so many really good plant-based products out there.
Right. A lot of competition.
There's a lot of competition. But if you don't have the financial wherewithal for shelf space, for slotting fees, for marketing, for advertising, you're just not going to get these types of orders. And so fortunately, again, back to our positioning, back to what we drafted in our business plan 2 years ago. This is about where we want it to be in Q1 of 2022, starting to take down these larger orders. And my gut feeling is that this is not the one and only that we're going to see of this magnitude. I think more will be coming.
I'm doing some reading between the lines on that. TJ Walsh, your head of North American sales, had a quote, because I like to read between the lines. So I'm going to dissect his quote. First part of his quote says, "Our goal now is to prepare for reorders." I've got to assume for TJ to be saying that, there's a high level of confidence that you're going to be expecting this isn't a one-off from Save On Foods. You'll be getting reorders. How's your level of confidence there?
For TJ to make those types of statements, my level of confidence is very high, because he knows this industry very well. And again, not just with Save On. That's the point I'm trying to get. We're spreading our wings smartly, right? We don't want to overdo it and then implode on ourselves. We're doing it smartly, spreading our wings as we go into the United States. TJ just updated me yesterday in regards to our where we're at in the United States. We're not going after the Costco's and the Walmarts right now. One, it takes between 6 months to a year to actually get in. But number 2, going after the regional players, getting our system down, getting the methodology down, getting the logistics down, getting all of that done with small regional players. Yeah. And regional players could have 100, they could have 100 stores in the Western United States. It could be Albertsons, it could be Smith's, right? So when I say regional, I don't mean, a small little mom and pop store selling the Coca-Cola.
No, in the US, regional means a couple hundred stores.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So,
and by the way, that's a little bighorn strategy used by Facebook in the movie. We learned about that, where they couldn't get the big universities to take on Facebook back when it started, so they got all the smaller colleges and universities. At that point, the big ones, UCLA, USC, they have no choice. So is that kind of the same? Is that part of the strategy as well, that by signing all these great regional locations, sooner or later the big guy's going to say, "Hey Jim, come on in," or more, sorry, "Hey TJ, come on in. We need to carry you guys."
Well, if it's not, then I love that analogy, and it will be. That's a great analogy. I don't remember that, but that's perfect. That's
Well, yeah,
perfect.
but it's a great strategy. And
Yeah,
TJ said, so I'm going to further dissect him, and I hope
please.
he's watching this. He said, Boosh has done a significant amount of preparation over the past year to not only secure these larger orders, quote, but to be prepared for these types of orders from multiple nationwide grocery chains. Again, reading between the lines, I mean, TJ is dropping some pretty big knowledge bombs on us there. Is there, what's your level of confidence that for you guys to be saying those kind of public statements that there's only more coming?
Well, let's look at history. Let's look at historically again what we've done in the last 12 months. And now we have TJ. Remember, we did most of this without TJ, with the exception of Savon. Now we have TJ, and he's starting to put together his own team. So my level of confidence for us to continue and grow is very high. It's just a question of the acceleration of the growth. Is it going to be slow? Is it going to be medium? Is it going to be fast? I don't know. I can't prognosticate the future. I just know we're going to work every day and busting our tail to get these orders coming in and get the reorders coming in and giving people good, non-GMO, gluten-free, heat and eat quality food.
Yeah, and tasty, right?
And tasty. And price point.
It's got to be tasty. And on the question of growth, I think everyone at home should know from the press release, we've increased our new store count over the past 90 days from approximately 15 stores per month, new stores, to 25 per month. And we're projecting 50 new stores per month by mid-year. So it looks like TJ and the team are really ramping up growth over there.
That's it. Number one last year, as you just referenced from TJ, what we did was build infrastructure and operations and management. This year, George, it's one word: revenue, revenue, revenue. That's it.
And that's so critical, right? It's amazing how
honeymoon's over.
Think, just sell, Jim, just sell. But you have to have the infrastructure in place to be able to manufacture what your customers want. Store, distribute, have all that infrastructure in place. How confident, from on a scale of 1 to 10, it's never perfect. Never. We all think that we can do better with our business, but how strong is the infrastructure and foundation for Boosh today to allow you to scale?
Listen, we spent a whole year working on it. I think it's very solid. And I think as we continue to scale, if we need to go ahead and expand in whatever areas, get more redundancies in, we're willing to do that. So I'm very confident where we're at right now with what we've put together. You could almost say we're top heavy because of the quality and the number of folks that we have with us right now. But that's designed in order to get to those next levels, in order to go ahead and get to exponential growth. You can't do it with a skeleton's crew, get these huge orders, and then ramp up. So you have to be prepared in that way. And it costs a little more, and it takes more time, it takes more energy, but then you're prepared. So that's been our philosophy as a management team for Boosh, making sure we're prepared now for growth throughout North America.
And a little anecdotal support of that. A lot of people don't know this, but I grew up in the food service industry.
That's right.
Family, very prominent food service industry. And
That's right.
There's one thing I know about that space is you don't get a second chance. If you fail on filling orders, if you fail on timelines, you get dropped pretty quickly because food is competitive. We all like to think we have great products, and look, Boosh no doubt has them, but customers won't hesitate to drop you if you don't have the infrastructure in place. So the fact that you guys have it all in place is key. You didn't rush off, Jim. That's I think it says a lot about your management team. You didn't run off to just try and secure purchase orders to make investors happy, which we all want to do. You rushed off to make sure you were strong enough to make investors happy for years.
Yeah, managing expectations. Well stated, George. That's exactly right. You get one shot, and especially in today's society, everything is so quick, right? Everything has to almost be done instantaneously. I like that. I don't like that. I won't give that a try. Blah, 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 blah. And so we have to make sure, as you just referenced beautifully, we have to make sure everything is lined up. Besides the great tasting food, to make sure we have all the infrastructure, have all the logistics in place, have the management in place, have the accounting and everything in place. And then, of course, being a publicly traded company, it's running two companies, right? Then you have to deal with all of the other regulatory bodies, et cetera. But that's, hey, that's okay. That's what I do. But our management team is, in my opinion, second to none. I just love our team, and we're going to do some great things in 2022.
And look, a lot of CEOs would say that. You'd expect to say that, but the fact of the matter is, because you guys are walking the walk, not just talking the talk. That's genuine right there.
Thank
and if
you.
we ended the interview, Jim, right there, we'd say amazing, things are going fantastic. But here's a development for me as a Greek. I may be a little bit biased, but here's a development that shoots Boosh into the next category, which is Boosh's new addition in its Amuse Boosh line will include almond feta with oregano and olives. You guys have finally woken up to the fact that the Greek market is what's going to take you guys over the top. And all kidding aside, I love that. But man, that says a lot about your product development, because so many people think, plant-based foods are boring. It's a bunch of leaves and crunchy stuff and it's healthy for you, but not tasty. Almond feta with oregano and olives. As a Greek, I'm salivating. What does that say about your product development team and how you guys are constantly creating new mainstream stuff that everyone can relate to and make an easy decision?
Mainstream, but still differentiates itself from the marketplace.
Right.
And as far as the creators of this, again, I'll put them up against anybody in the marketplace. We have such creative, wonderful, synergistic folks and these are through the acquisitions we did last year, George. Remember, we did the 3 acquisitions, and a lot of acquisitions, as folks probably know, fall apart 90, 100, 180 days after an acquisition. Very few acquisitions actually go well. All 3 of the acquisitions that Connie had actually identified last year, they've all blended perfectly within Boosh. And this is a perfect example of the brain power from the acquisitions of the folks that are now part of the Boosh family, working together to come up with these very unique, differentiating, scalable products that you just wouldn't think as you're walking through the grocery store. It's like, wow, what a great idea. Plant-based, vegetable root-based pate with this uniqueness tied to it, as you just referenced. And we're going to put Georgie as the name of it for you.
You want to put my face on there, like like the new Aunt Jemima or something like that. We can have Uncle Greek George. You could use my face, license free. All I request is one free package a week for the rest of my life. That's all I'm going to cost you.
Okay. You're on film. You're on film now. You're being recorded on that one.
Hey, I know we've discussed it before. So we talk about the operations side, and that's so important, because without a real operation, then there's nothing to really talk about. So that's great. Now let's talk about the number side. And I know we've talked about it before, but more people are always coming in to the plant-based food space. More investors are coming in. We're going to have double the investors next year that we had this year. So discuss again, if you can, the 5 revenue streams that Boosh has created, so people really understand the pillars of the company.
Number 1, organic growth. We've just discussed it. From January last year to right now, we've gone from 125 stores to over 600 stores, and we're adding stores every month. So that's number 1, organic. Number 2, mergers and acquisitions. We demonstrated last year the 3 acquisitions, small boutique acquisitions, but still very nice. I am right now in various stages between 4 and 6 transactions for potential acquisitions that will come to the Boosh family.
That you're looking at.
Yeah, I spend a lot of my time looking at acquisitions. Number 3, we have the e-commerce through shopveggie.com and their sister company in the United States. So that is starting to now kick in, and we're getting traction on that. Number 4, we just announced that on the Boosh Food platform, booshfood.com, to make it as frictionless as possible, consumers can go ahead and buy Boosh Food directly on the booshfood.com website. Okay, limited supply right now, or limited items, but we will be expanding on that. And lastly, we're now just getting our toes into the food service industry. What is food service? You know this: schools, institutions, eventually airlines, restaurants, airports, things of that nature. We've started shipping a very small amount, almost symbolic, just to go ahead and test the waters. But so far, everything's come back in a positive manner, confirming what our belief is, that bars are not set up to be having plant-based food. You and I go out on a Friday afternoon, instead of going and getting the chicken wings, or instead of going and getting a quesadilla with the cheeses, we can go in there and get some Boosh food, get some shepherd's pie or rustic pot pie or vegan Bolognese with Beyond Meat, something like that. Healthy, still having our cocktails, but still having something healthy, so you don't, sometimes you feel kind of crappy when you leave there, but with a healthy food and a couple cocktails, you'll feel better.
And we say tongue in cheek, But, you know, as a guy that's 50 plus now, I won't give away my exact age, man, I miss comfort foods because nowadays, you know, guys, like, we just have to be more careful with what we eat. But now, you know, thanks to you guys, and I mean, I think it's so intelligent that you guys came out on this comfort food side, because that's such a big category, and it's probably the one that's most guilty. That category is the one that's most guilty, most responsible for a lot of the obesity and, you know, and health issues out there. So how smart is that you guys are going after that segment of the market? And given everything we've talked about, I want to leave last word to you, dovetailing that is, where do you see Boosh 2, 3, 5 years from now? Because to me, it just looks like, short of something really unexpected happening, it looks like an unstoppable train.
I hate prognosticating what the future holds. I simply just go back to what we have already demonstrated. We put in our pitch deck and in our business plan, this is what we're going to do. We've marched along those orders. We're doing everything we represented we were going to do. Yeah. I just want us to continue and do that. We've already talked about boarding 25 plus stores a month, now wanting to get to 50 by the summertime. We talked about the acquisitions that I'm constantly looking at and massaging in various stages of. We've talked about just introducing e-commerce into the world, so into our world. So I you know, it all leads to growth. That's all I'm doing, is driving this company for growth and revenue and revenue and revenue. That's it.
And as a category, plant-based foods, what do you hear from TJ? What do you hear from your team in terms of market acceptance? What does Connie say? What's the demand and the desire for plant-based foods now from these big retailers, from food service? Because it seems to me like it's really hit next phase growth, where they really want it, rather than just think about, it might be a good specialty item to carry, you know, a one SKU here.
George, let's look at it from this angle. The infrastructure of the fast food industry was started around 1950s. They have some of the most sophisticated infrastructure and management and operations of any industry in the world. The expansion of the fast food industry, including the Starbucks, getting into the plant-based industry, I believe is a testimony to where the plant-based industry is going. I get asked fairly regularly, well, do you think this is the demise of the fast food chains? No, they already have the structure down. All they have to do is over the weekend change their menu, which they are starting to do. Carl's Jr., my favorite. I'll go there this afternoon. I'll get a Beyond Meat plant-based burger with the onions and cheese, and tastes just like a hamburger. I have my fries and Coke too, but it tastes fantastic. So this transformation is not going to slow down. It's very disruptive. I believe the origin of this disruptive movement is from the Gen Ys, the Gen Zs, the millennials. They care about what puts into their bodies far more than we did, right? I'm a contemporary of yours. They care about the animal kingdom, and they care about the limited resources we have on planet Earth. It's not going to change, in my humble opinion. This is only going to it's going to grow, and I believe it's going to get exponential growth over the years. One last thing I'll leave with you, this. Yeah. Grocery stores now. You would never think 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, grocery stores would be doing tenant improvements to expand their frozen section. Why are they doing that? Because of the lack of preservatives in plant-based foods, which a lot of them are frozen. They would not be expanding their frozen section had it not been for the growth of the plant-based industry. And we're seeing more and more grocery stores blowing out, building out more and more space in the frozen and, to a limited extent, the chill section of the grocery stores. Why? Because plant-based is here to stay. It tastes great. It's minimal preserves. If it's price points and it's fast, then you're going to have an audience. And this is what we're going after with Boosh.
And Jim, what I love it, and then end with this, you're not just talking the talk, you're walking the walk. You know, this news with Save On Foods, fantastic. That dovetails into other great news that you've announced. You're now in more than 600 stores. This is a great interview. Another, you know, piece of strong evidence and support that Boosh is going in the right direction. Can't wait to have you back on again, because I figure the way the plant-based food world is going, we're gonna have you on a lot more and a lot more frequently at the same time. So thanks for joining us today to tell us about all this, and can't wait to see you next time.
Thank you, George. Love being here.
For everybody at home, you've been watching or you've been listening by podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, your favorite podcast platform, to Jim Pakula, CEO and chairman of Boosh Plant-Based Brands, trades in Canada under Veggie, VEGI. For our friends in the US, VGGIF. For those new to the story and you want us to find out how do I do my due diligence, we've made that easy for you. Step one, get to the company's profile page on the Gorecom. We give you an amazing 1,000-foot overview of this company. Everything it's doing, its products, its biz dev, where they're selling, all its successes. So you get a good overview of the company. And then from there, you're going to click over to the Boosh website to do your deep dive due diligence. And guys, don't forget, probably the best way to do your deep dive due diligence is order some of the products. Just go to booshfoods.com, booshfoods.com, right, Jim?
Singular, booshfood.com, and you can find the locator. We're a store near you.
Booshfood.com, get there. Order some of the products or walk in the store, get some of the products from the store. And then that's the best way to do your due diligence. And I think when you've done that, you've discovered your next amazing small cap plant-based foods company. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. See you next time. Hey guys, this video is over, but don't forget to help your company by liking it and even leaving a comment below. And then don't forget to help yourself by subscribing to our channel and never missing another great Agoracom small cap video.